everyone, welcome back to Stay Happy. From cats and dogs to gorillas and lions, here are 10 animal stories from 2010 worth mentioning. Number 1. Harambe the Gorilla. This is Harambe, and he is a gorilla. It was just another day at the Cincinnati Zoo for Harambe in May 2016 when a 3-year-old boy climbed under a railing and through wires and fell 10 feet into the gorilla's enclosure. What ensued was a very scary 10 to 15 minutes for everyone involved as Harambe Gorilla handled the boy. Officials said when firefighters arrived, they saw Harambe violently dragging and throwing the boy. And here we have a close-up of the boy who fell into the enclosure. A short time later, the zoo's dangerous animal response team decided to shoot and kill the gorilla, a move they said saved the boy's life. Harambe's death, though, also set off a storm of anger on social media. The trolling got so bad that the zoo had to delete its Twitter account at one point. Harambe's death was very sad for lots of people.
Number 2. The Green Woodpecker and the Baby Weasel. You might think that this is something out of a movie, even though it's not. Lots of people thought so too. When this photo of what appeared to be a tiny mammal riding a woodpecker in some sort of real-life Disney scene appeared in 2015, everyone freaked out. How could this be real? Well, it turns out nature, that's how. And this wasn't some epic ride your dragon adventure. Martin Lee May, the photographer who captured the moment in Essex, England, said the baby weasel was actually trying to kill the woodpecker. Don't worry, the bird was eventually able to free itself of the treacherous little weasel, which I did not know could be that small, and fly away.
Number 3. Llamas on the loose. February 25, 2015 was a big day for the internet, due in no small part to a pair of llamas who went on the run in Sun City, Arizona, capturing the hearts of Americans glued to their TVs. The llamas were able to elude capture for about 20 minutes before they were finally lassoed.
Number 4. The saddest accessory. This is a real cat purse. The cat was found as roadkill and made into a purse by a New Zealand artist for an exhibition. It was eventually sold in 2016 to an anonymous bidder for about $545.
Number 5. Raccoon. We all know raccoons can get into just about anything, but this little guy probably got more than it bargained for when it started climbing a 25-floor building in St. Paul, Minnesota in 2018. This is a picture of the little raccoon out of somebody's apartment window that was climbing the building during the day. Fire officials reportedly determined that trying to rescue the raccoon from a ledge would pose too great a risk to firefighters to justify, so they left cat food and water on the roof, and all day and into the night, people cheered on the raccoon and bit their nails on social media and in person. The raccoon eventually made it to the top of the building, where it was caught by wildlife officials and relocated.
Number 6. Animals versus humans. Harambe aside, there were, of course, plenty of controversial and epic violent interactions between humans and a wild array of animals, like the jogger in Colorado who killed an 80-pound mountain lion with his bare hands after the big cat attacked him on the trail. Or the junior high school science teacher in Idaho who fed a sick puppy to a snapping turtle in front of students. He was eventually found not guilty of the animal cruelty. There was also that time last year when an Instagram model captured the moment a shark bit her in the water as she was getting that gram in the Bahamas. Things were decidedly more gruesome for a woman in South Carolina who died in February after her 2 dogs started eating her. By the time neighbors' response to her screams got the dogs off of her, they said she was already so far gone. One arm was already bit completely off. The other arm was barely hanging on by a piece of meat, one neighbor said. But let's not forget the measure of Mother Nature's justice doled out to would-be rhino poachers who were eaten by a pride of lions in South Africa after they broke into a Shibuya game reserve in 2018. The crew must have included at least 3 people because that's how many pairs of shoes and gloves were found among the remains. A park official said the poachers were equipped with a high-powered rifle with a silencer, wire cutters, an axe for cutting out the rhino horns, and enough food to last several days.
Number 7. Cecile the lion. This is Cecile. He lived in Hwang National Park in Zimbabwe until 2015. The sport killing of Cecile the lion was one of Africa's most famous big cats. It sparked a true global outcry in 2015, and people were extremely upset. American dentist Walter Palmer was roundly criticized for reportedly paying $50,000 to lure Cecile, a 13-year-old male lion, out of the Hwang National Park in Zimbabwe with bait and fatally wounded with a crossbow. Cecile, one of the main attractions at the park, was reportedly found decapitated and skinned. As outrage spread, trolls filled Palmer's Facebook page and online reviews for his dental practice with hateful comments as he started trending online. The dentist later said he had no idea the lion he took was famous locally and insisted that the local hunters he worked with had appropriate permits. However, the Zimbabwean hunter who took Palmer on the trip was charged with failing to supervise, control, and take reasonable steps to prevent an unlawful hunt. He pleaded not guilty as part of the Zimbabwe Parks and Wildlife Management Authority's investigation into the killing.
Number 8. Marathon dog. Okay, let's lighten up with the 2016 story of Gobi, a stray dog in China who, after a chance meeting during the route, started running alongside ultra-marathon runner Dian Leonard. The pair started running on day 2 of the intense multi-stage ultramarathon across China's longest-spanning desert. Leonard quickly formed a strong bond with the apparently homeless dog, and with the help of some crowdfunding, started the adoption process to eventually bring Gobi back home in the UK, also known as the United Kingdom. But while that played out, he left the dog with a friend in China, and that's where the story took a dramatic turn. Gobi ran away from the friend's house. Bad! Gobi's disappearance sparked a search all over Urumqi, a city in northwest China, as people pitched in to help find the dog online and in person, including Leonard, emotionally and physically spent after days of false leads, Leonard said. News he followed up on yet another tip anyway. He finally found Gobi. Here are some pictures of them together.
Quasimodo the Great, number 9. Speaking of special dogs, Quasimodo, a purebred German Shepherd, made a huge splash on social media in 2016 after he was found as a stray in Minnesota. The thing that is so special about this dog is that he's the product of an extremely rare condition called short spine syndrome. Shelter officials said he did not appear to be in any pain as a result and was able to get around and snuggle just fine. And this is a picture of him playing in the snow. As you can tell, he does have a short spine.
Number 10. Shelter dog Zuzu. In 2016, tears were shed over the story of Zuzu, a German Shepherd that was brought to a shelter in California after people who found her in their backyard presumed her to be a stray. It wasn't long though before Zuzu's owners arrived at the shelter promoting the dog to light up like a Christmas tree, a volunteer said. But what happened next required a box of tissues when the volunteer walked over to the family and asked if they had come to reclaim Zuzu. They said no. They were there to adopt a new dog instead of Zuzu. It wasn't long before Zuzu's owners arrived at the shelter promoting the dog to light up like a Christmas tree, a volunteer said. The reason was because she was crying and sad. Since her father passed away, she wasn't a happy dog anymore, the shelter volunteer said. Zuzu's fate went viral as her story spread on Facebook. She was eventually taken in by a foster group that promised to find her a perfect home where she'd be treated as a family member. This is a close-up of Zuzu.
And that's the end of our video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, click the notification bell, and share. And we'll see you all next time. And don't forget to stay happy.